Hey, honey. Hey, baby. I need to talk to you, Cheyenne said, her voice trembling slightly. She turned around. On her head sat a bright, wildly styled, and very obvious wig. Oh, honey, I just got the television, Van complained before looking up. Well, I started thinking that maybe you do not think of me as new pretty because I do not do enough to keep your interest, Cheyenne confessed, tears welling up in her eyes. No, honey, you were way hot, Van assured her quickly. Guilty. But anyway, I thought that maybe I should, you know, change my look every now and then just to keep things fresh. So, I bought a wig. Van stood up gently, walking over to his wife. Cheyenne put that down. Listen to me. He took her hands in his, looking deeply into her eyes. I think it is a good thing that when I look at you, I do not see the beautiful girl with the killer body. I see my wife. And I am attracted to her whether she is all dressed up, ready to go out or just sitting on the couch wearing those washed-up flannel pajamas. Really? Cheyenne whispered, a tear slipping down her cheek. Yeah. You are beautiful to me because of who you are. I feel kind of stupid, Cheyenne smiled, wiping her eyes. That is also who you are, and I love it. Van smiled back, kissing her forehead gently. Come on, you. Where are we going? Cheyenne asked as Van took her hand. Oh, we are going upstairs. Hold on. I thought you did not want me to leave you alone. Sometimes, Van whispered with a loving smile, I want to feel new pretty. The afternoon sun filtered through the sheer curtains of the living room, casting a warm, golden glow over the familiar chaos of the household. It was a home that had seen its fair share of laughter, tears, and an endless parade of unexpected guests. But lately, a new phenomenon had taken over the kitchen. It was a phenomenon of consumption, a whirlwind of appetite that left the pantry shelves bare and the refrigerator echoing with emptiness. Standing near the kitchen island, a young man named Van leaned against the polished granite counter, shaking his head in a mixture of disbelief and mild awe. He crossed his arms over his chest, his brow furrowed as he stared toward the hallway. That woman is out of control, Van whispered, making sure his voice did not carry past the swinging door of the kitchen. He gestured vaguely toward the living room where their guest was currently residing. She is like a locust. She has eaten everything in the house. Beside him, Cheyenne, a young woman with a kind heart but a sharp eye for household inventory, sighed softly. She absent-mindedly wiped down a spotless section of the counter, her mind racing through the mental list of groceries that had miraculously vanished over the past 48 hours. She has eaten everything in Mr. H's house too, Cheyenne added, her voice laced with a gentle concern rather than malice. She reached out and picked up the small, decorative glass shakers sitting in the center of the dining table. She shook them lightly. A hollow, rattling sound emerged. Look, even the salt and pepper shakers are empty. I do not even understand how someone eats plain salt. Why do you not just tell her she has eaten too much? Cheyenne turned her gaze toward a younger boy standing near the refrigerator. Ben, who usually had a witty remark for every situation, suddenly found the linoleum floor utterly fascinating. You tell her, Cheyenne prompted, nudging her younger brother. Ben's eyes widened in sudden panic. He took a step back, raising his hands in a defensive posture. No, you tell her, Ben retorted quickly. He looked frantically between his older sister and Van, desperately seeking a way out of the confrontation. Then, a spark of inspiration lit up his eyes. Rock, paper, scissors. Van grinned, a competitive glint replacing his previous concern. He cracked his knuckles, a theatrical display of confidence. Ben, you know you are going to lose. Not this time, Ben said, his voice trembling with false bravado. He pumped his fist into his open palm, setting the rhythm. 1, 2, 3. On the final count, Ben extended his index and middle fingers. Scissors. Van calmly laid his hand flat. Paper. Wait, no. Van had formed a solid fist. Rock. Ben stared at his defeated fingers, his shoulders slumping in absolute defeat. Dang it. How do you always beat me? Van chuckled, patting the younger boy on the shoulder with a patronizing but affectionate smirk. Because you always pick scissors. Of course I do. It is my system, Ben muttered, crossing his arms defensively. He hated when his foolproof strategies proved to be entirely foolish. Cheyenne smiled at their antics, but quickly brought the focus back to the pressing issue at hand. So you will tell her? She asked Ben, her eyebrows raised in expectation. Ben groaned, leaning his head back against the cool surface of the refrigerator door. Yeah, fine, he mumbled, before immediately changing his mind. No, I do not want to. He turned to Cheyenne, his eyes pleading. You tell her. Come on, you tell her. Please, please, please. Cheyenne sighed, tucking a stray lock of hair behind her ear. No, Ben, why should I tell her? Because girls can say that kind of stuff without having to come across like all they care about are looks, Ben explained, utilizing the peculiar logic of a teenage boy trying to escape a difficult conversation. He paused, sizing up his sister, and decided a little flattery might tip the scales in his favor. By the way, you have been looking hot lately. Cheyenne rolled her eyes, though a small, flattered smile tugged at the corners of her mouth. Oh, you! Before the sibling negotiation could escalate further, the back door swung open, and the matriarch of the house, Reba, stepped into the kitchen. She carried the weary grace of a single mother who worked too hard but loved her family with a fierce, unwavering dedication. In her arms, she balanced a large, flat cardboard box that radiated the unmistakable, savory aroma of baked cheese and tomato sauce. Look, sweetie, why do not I tell her? Reba said, catching the tail end of the conversation as she set the heavy box down on the counter. Thank you, she muttered to no one in particular, relieved to put down her burden. She clapped her hands together, a bright, triumphant smile on her face. Hey, 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 guess who Luigi gave the free pizza to? She gestured grandly to the box, expecting cheers. Instead, she was met with a collective look of gentle exasperation. Luigi does not have to roll it out of the bed every morning, Shine pointed out gently, leaning against the counter. You know, Mom, we really do not need another pizza. I mean, it is really just the three of us. Van chimed in, gesturing around the relatively quiet kitchen. Reba waved her hand dismissively, untying her scarf. Oh, I know, but I had to take it. It was free. Somebody will eat it. Almost on cue, a loud, enthusiastic voice echoed from the living room. Dibs. Reba froze, her triumphant smile fading into a look of profound realization. She looked at the empty pantry, the empty shakers, and then at the giant pizza box. A wave of motherly concern washed over her. This was no longer just about missing snacks. This was about the health and well-being of someone under her roof. You know what, Mom? Cheyenne said softly, voicing the collective thought of the room. I am thinking maybe we should all try and get a little healthier around here. The door to the living room pushed open, and Mrs. H ambled into the kitchen. She was a woman of generous proportions, currently clutching a half-empty bag of potato chips. What are you talking about? She asked, her mouth full. I am very healthy. Reba took a deep breath, mustering the authority that had successfully raised 3 children. She stepped between Mrs. H and the pizza box. All right, that is it, Mrs. H. Drop it. Mrs. H blinked, holding the bag of chips closer to her chest. Drop it, Mrs. H. Reba repeated, her voice firm but laced with genuine care. She pointed to the floor. Drop it, drop it, drop it. Mrs. H reluctantly let the bag of chips slide from her fingers. It hit the linoleum with a soft crinkle. Drop it. Reba insisted one last time, ensuring total compliance. She stepped closer, her expression softening into one of deep empathy. Mrs. H, I cannot stand to see you do this to yourself. It is like you are trying to eat yourself to death. Why? What happened to you? What is different? Before Mrs. H could formulate a response about her emotional state or her sudden voracious appetite, the front door of the house burst open with the force of a hurricane. A high-pitched, melodic voice